$3,982. That's your monthly salary after tax. It hits your account at 8:17 a.m. on a Friday, and for a few hours, you feel ahead of life. You open your banking app twice before noon, not because you need to, but because seeing that number gives you a temporary sense of control. By Sunday night, it's already shrinking in your head. Rent takes $1,200, food another $400 if you're careful. Transport, subscriptions, random expenses you didn't plan for but somehow always show up. By the next Friday, you're not broke, but you're not free either. You exist in this narrow space where money comes in, money goes out, and nothing really changes. This is what earning a salary feels like in the beginning. Not failure, not success, just a loop. You don't panic, but you're always calculating. You hesitate before buying things you actually want. You justify things you don't need. You tell yourself this is temporary, that once you earn more, everything will shift. But deep down, there's a quiet question you avoid asking. If this is working, why does it still feel like you're stuck? The first rule: a salary solves survival, not freedom. At this level, money feels like oxygen. You don't notice it when it's there, but you feel it instantly when it tightens. You track your spending, not out of discipline, but out of fear. Every decision has weight. You delay purchases, you split payments, you move money between accounts just to feel like you're managing something. You're not building wealth, you're maintaining balance, and balance at this level is fragile. Then something changes. You get a raise, not massive, but enough to notice. $3,982 becomes $4,670. You feel it immediately. You upgrade small things, better groceries, maybe a new phone. You stop stressing over minor expenses. For a moment, it feels like progress, but a few months later, the feeling fades. Your expenses quietly adjust upward. Your standards shift. What used to feel like a luxury becomes normal, and you realize something uncomfortable. Your life didn't change, your baseline did. The second rule: income rises, but so does your tolerance for spending. This is where most people plateau without realizing it. You're earning more, but you're not moving forward. You're just playing a slightly upgraded version of the same game. You save a little. Maybe you hit $5,000, then $8,000. It feels significant because it's new. You check your savings the way you used to check your balance, except now it's not anxiety, it's disbelief. You built this, slowly, intentionally. And for the first time, money starts to feel like something you can control, not just react to. But then you do something different. You run the numbers, honestly. You calculate your salary over the next 10, 20, 30 years. You factor in raises, promotions, inflation. And the result is fine. Not terrible, not exciting, just enough. Enough to survive comfortably, enough to retire eventually, but not enough to create real freedom. That's when the shift begins. The third rule: salary is a ceiling disguised as progress. The moment you see it, you can't unsee it. You start thinking differently, not about working harder, but about working differently. You experiment, small at first, a side hustle, freelance work, something that brings in an extra $200 a month. It's not about the money, it's about the possibility. Then it grows. 200 becomes 600, then 1,200. You don't spend it, you watch it, study it. This money feels different because it wasn't given to you, you created it. The fourth rule: money you control behaves differently than money you're given. You start to understand leverage, not in theory but in practice. Time becomes a resource you measure carefully. Every hour spent earning a fixed amount starts to feel inefficient. Every hour spent building something scalable starts to feel valuable. You begin shifting your focus. Less consumption, more creation. Less comfort, more intention. Your income starts to split. Salary on one side, everything else on the other. And slowly, quietly, the second side begins to matter more. You cross $20,000 in savings, then $50,000, not from your salary alone, but from what you built alongside it. And something changes inside you. You stop seeing money as something you earn and start seeing it as something you position. The fifth rule: Below a certain level, you trade time for money. Above it, you position money to create time. You invest, carefully at first, then with more confidence. Some decisions work, some don't. You lose money, you make money. But the difference now is that you're playing the game, not watching it. Your net worth grows, not dramatically, but consistently. $80,000, $120,000, $200,000. Numbers that once felt distant now feel real. And with that growth comes separation. You start saying no more often, to things, to people, to expectations that no longer align with where you're going. It creates distance, not because you want it to, but because it has to. The sixth rule: growth requires subtraction. You can't build something new while holding on to everything old. Your income becomes less predictable, but more powerful. Some months you make more than your salary ever paid you, other months less, but the trend is upward. And more importantly, it's yours. You're no longer dependent on a single source. You've created options, and options are the real currency. You cross into 6 figures in net worth, then 7. The numbers increase, but your relationship with them changes. You don't react emotionally anymore. You analyze, allocate, adjust. Money becomes data, a signal, not a source of identity. The 7th rule: wealth is not about having more money, it's about needing less certainty. At higher levels, the game shifts again. It's no longer about earning, it's about positioning. Where is your capital? What is it doing? What is it not doing? You think in systems, not paychecks. You make decisions that would have terrified you years ago, not because you're fearless, but because you understand the trade-offs. You enter rooms where conversations are different, not louder, just more precise. People don't talk about how much they make, they talk about how money moves. And you realize something else. The gap between where you started and where you are isn't just financial, it's psychological. You think differently, you prioritize differently. You see time, risk, and opportunity in ways your past self couldn't understand. And that comes with a cost, not in dollars, but in distance. The 8th rule: the higher you go, the less your old life makes sense to you. Eventually, you reach a point where money stops being the goal entirely. It becomes a tool, a resource, something you direct, not chase. You have enough, not in a vague sense, but in a calculated, intentional way. And when you look back, the realization is clear. It was never about the salary. The salary was just the starting point, a foundation, not a path. It gave you stability, but it could never give you freedom, because freedom requires ownership, leverage, control, and none of those exist in a fixed number deposited into your account every month. Somewhere right now, someone is checking their balance at 11:43 p.m. It's $3,982, or $1,247, or $6,200. The number doesn't matter. What matters is what they believe that number can do for them. They think if it increases, everything will change. They don't know yet that the real shift isn't in the amount, it's in the structure. In the moment they stop relying on a salary to build a life it was never designed to create. Because a salary can make you comfortable, it can make you stable, but it will never make you rich. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner the real game begins.